Joining us now is Ange-Marie Hancock Alfaro, a professor of political science at the University of Southern California and NBC4's political analyst. So thanks for joining us. The appointment of the High Court has political drawbacks for both parties. Let's start with Republicans. Are they afraid that this fast tracking of a High Court pick will help stimulate Democratic turnout?
I think the Republicans who are in tight races in the Senate have very legitimate concerns. I think part of the reason why you saw Senator Susan Collins, for example, say that she did not want this to take place is because she is locked in a battle for her political life, if you will. Certainly, we only need to go back as far as 2018 and the reaction to the Kavanaugh nomination and the ways in which, again, that wave election of electing women in particular, but overall, you know, the way in which that election went against Republicans in many ways is a real cautionary tale for whether or not vulnerable Republicans are going to end up losing and being sacrificed for the goal of having that magic sixth vote of a conservative on the court.
So what do you think of the selection of Amy Coney Barrett?
You know, I think it fits with a long-standing Republican trend that really goes back to Ronald Reagan in terms of nominating justices that are younger in age and extremely conservative so that they can have a long-term impact on the court. So Amy Barrett is certainly in the mold of a now Chief Justice, John Roberts, in terms of, you know, her profile and certainly in terms of her Catholic faith. So I do think that there would be, it would be very consistent with what past Republican presidents have done in terms of Supreme Court nominations.
So navigate this for us. One gets the impression that one thing Democrats might do is not focus on the nominee, truly, but actually on the issue of the Affordable Care Act, because that's going to be the first issue the new court is going to address, whether or not it's constitutional. And so we're going to be hearing a lot about pre-existing conditions and that sort of thing, and the robbing or the elimination, I should say, of health care for millions of Americans.
Well, I think the Democrats definitely want to focus on that for two reasons. One, of course, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and certainly the presence and the availability of health care to people who do not traditionally have it or can't traditionally afford it, and the expansion that Obamacare really provided for that context makes it a good political issue. And so I think that is something that we've already started to see in terms of how Democrats are responding to this, and I expect that to continue.
During Judge Barrett's confirmation to the federal court the first time, as we mentioned with Chuck Todd, Dianne Feinstein brought up her Catholicism. Do you expect that to happen again?
You know, I do think that it will come up with relation to abortion and to Roe v. Wade, because certainly there is a strong wing of the Democratic Party that is very committed to reproductive rights and sees this as the primary reason why people are so upset about the loss of Justice Ginsburg. And so I do think Democrats are going to try and do that. I think they do have to be careful, though, because there is a vote among Catholics that might have already been trending towards Biden himself, who is a practicing Catholic, and they don't want to disturb that in any way, shape, or form.
Dr. Ange-Marie Hancock Alfaro of the University of Southern California and NBC4's political expert, thanks very much for taking the time.